And so one of the things we want to make sure of is that you take advantage of this opportunity. For so long, our communities have been impoverished, disadvantaged, and there were no avenues for us to change. Well, that avenue has changed today. And when you leave here today, you're going to leave empowered, you're going to leave excited. And how many of you know that empowerment and excitement, it lasts for a little while, then it die down? But you're going to have a counselor and a coach, someone that will be there to assist you in making this transition. Before I go any further, I want to recognize some folks. If you see that guy over there with that KSI sweatshirt on, that is, and this alone one, that's Dr. Pastor Representative Brother Patrick Sellers. This is his church where he pastors. He was elected, yeah, let's give him a hand. He was elected last Tuesday on the 8th. Prior to that, 2 weeks before that, he said, hey, let's do something to change and help change our community. I was like, okay, what are we going to do? He said, oh, you figure it out. Well, I called him back and I told him about NACA. And he said, okay, let's do it. He said, give me a week to recuperate. He's been on a campaign trail for a year. He's not a politician. He's a person that cares about his community enough that he should be somewhere getting him some rest, but he's here this morning. So I give him all of the, we're not supposed to praise men, but I'll give him his flowers while he's here because this is something that he did not have to do. And so we thank him for that. Not many representatives are also pastors that care enough about their community to do something like this. So let's share what you're going through today. Secondly, I want to thank Miss Johnny Clark, who will be your presenter today. She does this magnificently. She cares about the process, which is why she's here. Next, I want to introduce, and I know I'm going to mess his last name up, Diego Fouquet. Diego is the operations director for NACA. What makes him special is that this guy came from Atlanta to be here today. He really didn't have to do it. Was here putting out signs this morning, walking in the cold, making sure that everything that you see is working the way it's supposed to work. And last but not least, I want to introduce my brother, my sister, and my nephew. They are going to tell you about their experience with NACA and how it's changed their life. And I'll be honest and say this before I asked Pastor to come up and pray. When they first got the house, me and her were at it because I was like, man, but now I kind of like the house because it's the bomb. And you can have that experience as well. So sit back, take in what needs to be done, do what needs to be done, and watch God change your life. There's a song by Joe. Anybody know who Joe is? Joe has a song that says, I'd rather have a love. Y'all remember that? I'm going to change that up a little bit. The last few lines he said, it's going to take a minute to evolve, but I'd rather have a love than nothing at all. I'm waiting for a love of my own. Now I want y'all to take love out and put a house in there. Pat.
Good morning to each of you. Thank you for coming on today. God is truly in the blessing business, and thank God for NACA for facilitating this, and that makes a great impact in our community. And we encourage you. The first place, if you want to have wealth, is to be a property owner. And so every single person need to have their own house and be a property owner. Listen, let me just open up with prayer, and we'll get started. So we won't be here all day, and you can get forward with your business. Father, we thank you now for this time of sharing. Thank you for every person that is here. Lord, bless us as we do your will, but Lord, make impact in the lives of your people. We'll be property owners. In Jesus' name, amen.
Excuse me, ma'am, that just walked in. You signed in? Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Diego, would you like to say a few words before we get started? Sure. All right.
Good morning, everybody, again. My name is Diego. I want to tell you something. Congratulations, because you just did first step to make a change in your life. You need to take control, right? Uh, how many of you are renting right now? Raise your hand. You are renting. Okay. So you're paying somebody else's mortgage, right? So the idea is if you can pay that somebody else's mortgage, you can pay your own mortgage, right? That's simple. I'm able to work every month, write a check or give cash to my landlord. Why I cannot do that to the bank and on my own home? So the NACA program is designed to remove the barriers that many people have at the time to qualify for a mortgage loan. So 100% financing means no down payment, below interest rate, below market interest rate, no down payment, so you don't need thousands of dollars for down payment, no credit score consideration. So we don't care what's your credit score. It doesn't mean that we're not gonna look at your credit. We will, because we need to know about your debts and about your payment history. But it doesn't matter if you have 500 or 850, you're gonna qualify for the same loan. All those things are for you, not for me or for Junita. Well, maybe for Junita because you're purchasing your home, right? I already got mine. Um, but we are here to help you. The money is there. Johnny will tell you everything. The funds are available. What you need to do, you need to have a little bit of discipline. If she's gonna give you all the information, and after that, if you want to get it done, you can get it done. I've been doing this for many, many years. I've seen people go from zero to get the keys of their homes. Really, really in bad shape. 6 months, a year later, whatever it takes, they get their home. So ask questions. We're not allowed to people here, so we have time. We can answer questions. We can put you in the right path, and we're here to help you. Thank you very much.
All right, I wanted to ask him to remind me to give a break because I can just go 4 hours straight. So I'll try not to do that. Give me, let me know when it's time for a break, okay? About halfway through. But I just want to introduce myself. My name is Johnny Clark. I am a mortgage counselor with NACA. Okay, so I'm HUD certified mortgage counselor, and I'm also a licensed loan officer with the state of Alabama. And I want to welcome you guys out to the workshop today. You will get, we're going to let you know how to become a homeowner. We're going to give you a straight path to homeownership. And I also want to thank Pastor Sellers, Representative Sellers, Pastor Littlejohn, Diego, and our leaders because they're all about action. We're not about just talking about getting you a home. We want to get you in a home. We're going to give you a clear path, and it takes work. So we can't just give you a home, but it's a few qualifying factors that we need, and then we're going to show you how to do that. And like Pastor Littlejohn said, you know, sometimes it takes a lifetime to develop financial habits, economic habits, lifestyle. Give us a year to help you change some of those lifestyle patterns to help you get a home. So if you're willing to work, we're willing to work with you. But I want everybody to stand up for a second. It's cold, it's early, I'm trying to wake up, it's different levels to being woke. But I want you guys to give a hand to Pastor Representative Sellers and Pastor Littlejohn for putting this on for you today. I just want to make some noise for them. Thank you guys for putting this workshop on. Hopefully this will be the first of many. This you can go ahead and have a seat. Thank you so much. But they didn't have to do this, but they are men of their of act. We're trying to get activists in the community, not just talking. So we want to change the face of the community. When they said they want to change the community for the better, and we've been talking about affordable home ownership for a long time, and so we want to revitalize our communities, and it starts with you. So we empower you with the knowledge on how to do that. Then we start with one family at a time, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the presentation. If you want to pull up the slideshow, let's go ahead and get started. Yes. Okay, you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, so um, if you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to raise your hand because I want to make sure you ask questions. And the quickest way to change your life today is to be curious like a child. You know, I have a nephew who's 4 years old. He's very curious. And I want you to be like that too. Just ask why. You know, why. There's no wrong answers. And the quickest way to learn is to just sometimes have a dialogue and ask questions, okay? Because that may be if you don't ask, then you won't know how to address any issues or concerns so we can help you become a homeowner. Also, you see a phone number on the screen. That's the best way to contact NACA for any questions that you may have or general questions. It's also in your workbook. If you don't have a workbook, let us know and we'll get a workbook out to you. Also, we don't want you to disclose any personal information during the workshop. We can handle that offline. So, we want to keep your personal information confidential, okay? It's a um, interactive workshop. So every screen that you see is a corresponding page number in the workbook. So the whole slideshow is actually here. Okay, everything you need to know to get through the program is in this book. And another tip, big tip to get through NACA. If you read this book, it will help you to overcome a lot of issues. Okay. Sometimes I don't like to read, but if I'm curious and want to change my life, I'll read all night if I have to. Okay, so that's a tip. Sometimes when I get people to have the first session with me, they don't even look at the book, and then they get frustrated. But and also ask a lot of questions. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next slide. All right, so these are the topics that we're gonna cover today. It's your first step to home ownership. All right, so we're gonna give you an overview. And we don't have clients, we refer to you as members. If you decide to join NACA, you become a member, okay? And then we're gonna talk about the NACA mortgage and what that means. If you look on the front of the book, it gives you an idea of what the NACA mortgage is. It's right on the front of the book. We're gonna talk about budgeting. How many of you budget on a regular basis? Okay. All right, that's huge with NACA. So budget is going to determine how much you can afford. That's one aspect of affordability is writing down what's coming in and what's going out. So we're going to go over the budget in detail. We're also going to talk about your mortgage payment. Your mortgage payment is determined in part by your income and your debt. Okay. And also the NACA qualification. Like I said, I'm going to empower you so you know exactly how to become a homeowner and change your life and your family. And we want to change our community. So you'll have a clear path. Also, NACA Real Estate Department. We don't have in-house agents here. You're free to use any real estate agent of your choice. The agents that are successful with NACA are the ones who take the NACA overview. We're a little bit different because we're nonprofit in part. Okay, so that's a good thing, but some agents don't understand that, but we want them to become familiar with the process. Member participation. We are a nonprofit and we have 2 million members, and we're successful because of the volunteers and people who fought to have this program. We're going to talk more about how we came to be through advocacy and people who fought to have this program for minorities, low to moderate income, actually for anybody, but we are advocates. Member portal. Each one of you, if you decide to move forward, we get a member portal, and that's how we'll identify you. You'll have the portal to upload your mortgage application and documents. Okay, so we'll walk you through that every step of the way, and we will work with you as long as it takes. I have some people who go through it just depends on you whether or not you're ready. So you'll know if you're ready or not by the end of the presentation. If you don't, please ask questions because we're going to put the burden on you to make sure you know what you need to do next, right? I wish I could do it for you, but we can't, right? So I need you guys to be engaged. All right, next. All right, so every step of the way in your portal, you'll be given, you'll know your status of your NACA application. And these are the statuses here. Your first step is home buyer workshop. So this is your first step. Then you're going to have the intake session. So after today, you're going to upload your documents and your application, and then you're going to meet with a counselor. It may be me or another mortgage counselor. We do have a housing center in Charlotte, but you know, you'll meet with your counselor. That's the intake session. Next is NACA qualification. So once you've completed everything that's required of you in that application process, then you're going to get NACA qualified. Okay. After you're NACA qualified, we'll have you attend a purchase workshop. That'll let you know what to expect for a house, and also after the purchase workshop, you have the opportunity to go ahead and go under contract on your home. Okay. And then there's property condition. For NACA, most lenders will not require a home inspection. We require that every single member has a home inspection because we want to make sure that the house is structurally sound, that you're not getting like a lemon, so to speak, or something with major repairs down the road that's going to harm you and your family. So we make sure that you have a home inspection to make sure that house is safe for you and your family. Credit access and bank application. Credit access is basically another qualification to make sure that you still qualify for the mortgage. I have people go out and buy a Cadillac. Can't do that during the housing process. They go out and buy, you know, expensive things. We want you to still maintain your affordability. Don't go out and buy anything new. We want you to pay your bills on time. Okay, so that credit access is important. We want to make sure that you're still in line financially to get your home. And bank application is simply disclosures to close with the bank. Our bank is Bank of America. Mortgage processing, Bank of America takes care of the mortgage processing. If they need anything extra, they'll reach out to you. And mortgage closing. We have attorneys that will close that transaction for you. All right. And post-purchase. So basically what we do different from a lot of lenders is we will, we have a program after you close on the house to make sure you stay in your home. If you have any issues after you close, you can call NACA. Say, for instance, you lose your job or you're having financial difficulties, we have programs set up to help you stay in the home. So that's, we don't just, get you a home and leave you out there. We still will help you with budgeting and things like that, loan modification, anything that, may concern you after you get your home. So that's huge because we want to maintain our neighborhoods, revitalize the neighborhoods, and keep you in the home. Okay? Next slide, please. All right. We're going to go over somewhat of our history in our programs. Next slide. We're going to go ahead and watch a video. We believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we're going to show you some videos of how we came to be. Almost 38 years ago, our CEO started NACA. It wasn't a mortgage company. He was fighting predatory lending and fighting against redlining, discrimination against minorities. And so we're going to go ahead and let you watch the video, and then we'll resume after that. All right? Can we turn the volume up?
The Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, NACA, is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to end financial exploitation and to stabilize your neighborhoods. We provide the best mortgage product in America. While NACA provides comprehensive housing services, is first and foremost a confrontational community advocacy organization.
NACA was founded by Bruce Marks more than 30 years ago. He continues to be the CEO and visionary.
It is a war waged on many fronts. We take a junkyard dog approach. Once we grab on, we never let go, no matter how long it takes.
NACA is the outgrowth of the Hotel Workers Union Local 26.
The overwhelming majority of our membership are paying somewhere between 60 and 70% of their income towards housing.
Local 26 undertook a 5-year campaign to provide housing assistance for its members. As part of this fight, hundreds of workers went to Washington to change the federal labor law.
Strong enough to challenge the law, strong enough to change a stupid law that says we have no right to negotiate what's good for our families.
In 1990, President Bush changed the federal labor law that hadn't been changed in more than 20 years. And for the first time, a local union was responsible. Now, unions could negotiate to provide down payment and closing cost assistance to workers to make homeownership a reality for working people.
We've always taken a look at this. The NACA goal is to set a standard for the country. But if you're going to be out there fighting the financial predators, you got to take on the big ones. You can't take the easy road. That sends a message to the institutions out there that says, when NACA takes you on, we're going to do whatever it takes to win.
When you own a piece of the rock, when you own your neighborhood, you rise up and drive the parasites out because you have that power. We have that power.
NACA was the first to spearhead campaigns against predatory lenders. It coined the term predatory lending. Lenders set up borrowers to fail through high interest rates, outrageous fees, and unreasonable terms. Whether it's called loan sharking, subprime lending, or payday lending, the fundamental issue remains the same: the taking from working people and minorities to benefit the wealthy. This is a continuation and expansion of the wealth disparity gap.
How many of you are ready to take the blood-sucking profiteers on? How many of you are down for the fight?
The first target was the largest and most aggressive predatory lender, Fleet Bank. They cut off credit to minority communities while providing lines of credit to loan sharks.
We're staying here to meet with you. You're not staying here to meet with them. Then you're going to have to arrest us.
In Georgia, where Fleet Finance is based, more than 20,000 borrowers think those sales look more like fins, the fins of loan sharks.
There really were substantial abuses within the industry which wound up causing people to lose their homes for no legitimate reason.
It is a wake-up call, Congress.
This nationwide battle took 4.5 years. It included demonstrations and confrontations wherever Fleet was active. We won the war.
It is welcome news for us that it's decided to embark on this program to commit $8 billion for community lending.
As part of the victory, Fleet not only pledges $8 billion to add to its community lending, but contributes millions to settle lawsuits and funds $140 million to establish NACA's Best in America mortgage program. NACA also convinced Congress to pass new legislation.
I have prepared legislation that will provide an important first step towards filling in the gaps in consumer protection. It's called the Home Ownership and Equity Protection Act of 1993.
The next target was Barnett Bank and its predatory subsidiary, Equicredit.
The group says it's a grassroots organization that uses persistence to force banks to change their lending practices. In Jacksonville, the bank they targeted is Barnett.
We believe in confrontation. We believe in being at the bank wherever they go. We go to the analyst meeting. We go to their annual meeting. We go to where they make a presentation. And we have a long attention span.
Barnett succumbs to the pressure. NACA exposes and changes Barnett's predatory subsidiary, Equicredit, and Barnett funds $20 million to the NACA mortgage. The first Union was next. In 1995, it was one of the nation's largest lenders and one of the most racist.
He calls himself a bank terrorist, but he uses words, not the law.
A protest is planned tomorrow against one of Charlotte's biggest banks, First Union.
First Union has some of the worst minority lending practices. Fast Eddie is First Union Chief Executive Ed Crutchfield, and he's getting a lot of attention. These people say First Union stands out, and this battle is getting personal. First Union CEO Ed Crutchfield is on protesters' wanted flyers. They don't respect working people because they want to lend to their own.
NACA forces First Union to lend to minority borrowers, and it funds $150 million to the NACA mortgage. CEO Ed Crutchfield, the target of the campaign, is personally impacted.
A prime-time investigation. It manufactures some of the most popular cars in America. Ford, quality is job one. But there's another side of the Ford Motor Company you may not know about.
Ford is absolutely a loan shark.
Ford is one of the largest money lenders in the country, and workers inside the company say it used aggressive tactics to put people into debt.
Let me tell you what a sucker. Cha-ching. We just made the company some money.
They eat you up and they spit you out. That's Ford Motor Company.
A lot of people are getting fed up with Ford. In Atlanta, thousands packed a church to bear witness against the way they say Ford does business.
They have ripped off our community. They have stolen the wealth out of our neighborhood.
This man is also going after Ford. Bruce Marks, a community activist who has pressured corporations to make available more than $1 billion in low-cost mortgages.
Remember that day, Ford Motor Company? They're vicious. I had a loan with them, too, in fact. And it's 24% interest. That's 24.
NACA is also victorious against Ford. It reduces interest rates for hundreds of thousands of borrowers, funds $100 million to the NACA mortgage, and divests the associates, then the country's largest finance company. While we won those battles, we recognized that the power of greedy lenders, investors, rating agencies, and others, supported by the government, created a predatory lending wave that could not be stopped. The mortgage and financial crisis was coming, since homebuyers were being lured into mortgages that were structured to fail. On September 12, 2000, Bruce Marks testified in Congress, warning lawmakers.
Without such control, Fannie Mae.
Marks was one of the first to predict the crisis, which would have a devastating impact on homeowners and communities nationwide.
Participation in these schemes by the GSEs poses potential risk for the housing and banking industry and for the economy in general.
By 2000, Mark's prediction came true. Millions of people were unable to make their monthly payments and were at risk of foreclosure.
Predatory lending has come back with a vengeance.
On August 23, 2007, at the National Press Club in D.C., NACA announces a campaign against Countrywide.
We're back. And now the fight is going after the biggest player out there, and that is Countrywide Financial.
At the time, it was considered untouchable and the gold standard in lending.
They're demanding Countrywide save face and their homes by rewriting mortgages.
NACA got what it demanded. Countrywide signs a legally binding agreement with NACA to reduce interest rates and outstanding principal amounts, making their predatory mortgages affordable. Countrywide participates in NACA's Save the Dream events to modify mortgages. NACA's next target, Bear Stearns.
The chant Main Street, not Wall Street. Angry homeowners today storming the Bear Stearns building in Manhattan.
Let's make sure that they hear it. Let's spread and we're staying.
The government's gonna do anything. They're not fucking eliminated. We're talking about their
It's an unprecedented giveaway of taxpayers' money. Why should our hard-earned money be used to benefit and subsidy the people that created the mortgage crisis?
Bear Stearns signs a legally binding agreement with NACA to reduce interest rates and outstanding principal amounts, making their predatory mortgages NACA's Save the Dream event to modify mortgages. The backbone of NACA's aggressive nonviolent advocacy is to hold the decision makers personally responsible for their actions. Herb Allison, CEO of Fannie Mae, which sets the industry standard for lending, was confronted by NACA as we blocked their main entrance.
Look us in the eye. Don't look at your bottom line. Look us in the eye and see what you've done. And we're going to make you responsible for what you've done. And you're going to bring some solutions to the table.
Fannie Mae signs a legally binding agreement with NACA to reduce interest rates and outstanding principal amounts, making their predatory mortgages affordable. Fannie Mae participates in NACA's Save the Dream events to modify mortgages.
They are on the verge of losing their own homes, so they decided to move in here. This is the Greenwich, Connecticut home of William Fry, a hedge fund manager who is trying to stop people from renegotiating subprime mortgages and avoiding foreclosure. Fry is suing Bank of America to keep it from issuing these new affordable loans to owners in need.
We work hard to buy these homes, and then we got tricked through these predatory loans, and now we can't afford them, and they don't want to help us. The lenders say they don't want to modify loans because they're afraid of being sued by Bill Fry. But we say Bill Fry needs to be afraid that people know where he lives.
Bill Fry's lawsuit fails. He stops his advocacy against homeowners.
They're causing financial violence on us. So it's important that we see where the predators live. It's John Mack's house. John Mack, he is the CEO of Morgan Stanley. They own Saxon Mortgage. And Saxon Mortgage services hundreds of thousands of mortgages, and they refuse to restructure those mortgages to make them affordable over the long term. We're going to do a picket line around his house. Let's go. Yeah, around his house. They see who we are now. They know who we are. They see who we are. They know who we are. It's almost like, take a look at me. I'm your problem. I get a call my cell phone 20 minutes later that we want to work this thing out. This is like a rise of the proletariat. We've seen this before historically, but certainly not recently in our country. Well, I want to say that we were disciplined, organized, and we pierced that veil. We pierced that comfort level that they have. But $400 million buys them privacy no longer.
Saxon Mortgage signs a legally binding agreement with NACA to reduce interest rates and outstanding principal amounts, making their predatory mortgages affordable. Saxon participates in NACA's Save the Dream events to modify mortgages.
They got the money, but they're not giving it to the people.
Martin Luther King would have stood up for something. Jesus stood up for something. We got to stand up for something.
Chase Bank signs a legally binding agreement with NACA to reduce interest rates and outstanding principal amounts, making their predatory mortgages affordable. Chase participates in NACA's Save the Dream events to modify mortgages. With legally binding agreements with all major lenders and investors, NACA did what no one else thought possible. We organized massive events at convention centers nationwide, providing same-day solutions for homeowners with unaffordable mortgages.
So what I do is I take your mortgage payment and I reduce it by the total deficit that you have.
These events, taking place over at least 5 days each, attracted tens of thousands of homeowners at risk of foreclosure. At each event, NACA counselors teamed up with lenders who had hundreds of staff on site to provide affordable solutions.
That's a good thing for the banks. We do the work for them. It's a win-win situation.
Saving homes and saving lives.
It's a last-ditch effort for hundreds of homeowners on the verge of foreclosure. Thousands of people wait in line downtown in hopes they can save their home.
Hundreds of thousands of people fighting to keep their homes from foreclosure. It's
become a nearly insurmountable challenge.
You can see there are thousands of people. They're expecting tens of thousands of people here to get. Dozens of people are spending the night outside in the cold and rain, hoping to hold on to their homes yesterday and camped out in order to guarantee their spot. Losing their homes. Thousands pleading with bankers today, hoping to catch a break.
People from different walks of life, all in the same predicament.
The country are converging on South Florida. They're looking for help to stay in their homes.
Clear picture of the level of strain and suffering the foreclosure crisis is creating for families. Look no further than Daly City.
We are inside the convention center where
This could be the last chance of saving, but this facility is packed with people looking to refinance their mortgage and save.
Wow, Diana, look at that crowd behind you. It's unbelievable, Michelle. Just take a look around. Look at it. Friday night, what are you doing? Look at what these people are doing, and they will probably lead us here. First stop for what is really a mobile servicing center. Plans are being made to take it on the road across the country.
This is the devastation that these banks have caused. No one should have to be sleeping here overnight, staying 24, 48 hours just to save their homes. And everybody who's tried to work with the banks has failed. And this is the consequence. This is like the war zone. It's the war zone in America.
Despite the opposition from government and others, the results were extraordinary. Over the 144 Save the Dream events, more than 250,000 homeowners at risk of foreclosure obtained affordable same-day solutions, and many more obtained modifications through NACA's Home Save program. Homeowners were able to reduce their interest rate to as low as 2% and sometimes lower their outstanding principal, saving hundreds and often more than $1,000 in their monthly mortgage payments.
Our mortgage is $4,200, it's now $2,100. Saving me $1,000 a month.
My monthly payment has been reduced $3,000. It's amazing. Thank you.
They brought our interest rate down from 10% to 2%. We're saving $1,100 a month on our loan.
If it wasn't for NACA, I won't be this happy today.
My mortgage payment used to be $2,235, and now they've lowered it to $1,309. And you guys just hold on. There is help and there is hope at the end of the rainbow.
There is a CRA protester who spent 4 years harassing a bank and bank's president. Finally, the bank clears and gives them $1.4 million, gives them $200,000 to set up their organization. They now got 20 offices, lending $3.5 billion.
A decade later, NACA has more than 50 offices nationwide, and major lenders have committed more than $13 billion. We provide the best mortgage in America. No down payment, no closing costs, no perfect credit, and always at a below market fixed rate.
My interest rate is 2.75. I brought it down by 1%. And my monthly payment is $11.32. My interest rate is 1.75%. I pay $6.28 a month.
Brought down my interest rate to 2.875, and my payment is $675 a month.
The interest rate is 1.75, and my payment is 902.
Interest 12%, and I'm paying $710 a month.
I have an interest rate 0.87, and I pay $508.
My interest rate was 3.5. I pay $686 a month.
NACA is absolutely the real deal.
I have a mortgage payment of $615. Being this young and going in on a house purchase by myself, I didn't think that was possible. But NACA is truly amazing.
I've been American for 10 years now, and this is probably the first American dream I've experienced.
I really did get my dream home. Everything. Thank you.
Bank of America has been our largest partner over more than 20 years. In 1995, it committed $500 million to the NACA mortgage. 4 years later, $3 billion. Another $3 billion 4 years after that, and in 2011, it raised their commitment to $3.5 billion. In total, $10 billion to help minority and low-income borrowers afford homes.
By identifying qualified applicants, giving them the financial management skills they need, and creating
creating a financial safety net for those who need a little help in crisis. And the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America is just what I was looking for.
Loan amount 252. My mortgage payment is 1250, and just in a year's time, the value of the house has gone up to 340 already. My loan is $200,000. My interest rate is 2%, and my mortgage payments is $0. I own a duplex, and my other renter is covering my costs.
NACA has built the strongest foundation in the mortgage industry for lending to low and moderate income borrowers. We've added a 15-year mortgage that allows you to build wealth quickly.
0.05 interest rate for 15 years. It's a blessing. It's fantastic.
Another program allows Section 8 participants to use their Section 8 rental payments as mortgage payments. Called HOT PHA, it provides unprecedented homeownership opportunities. NACA continues to develop its state-of-the-art operations with a streamlined mortgage process. There's much more to come as we expand these programs and develop additional financial services products for working people.
I think people will take more pride in the community because it's their property. This is hope. This is light at the end of the tunnel.
NACA believes in the principle that we are thy brother's keeper. Over the past 30 years, we've won the battles, and together we will continue to win the fight for economic justice. With more than 2 million members, we are a unique and powerful force as we act to make fundamental changes for working people.
We have not just a house on bricks, we're actually a building. I can go home and say, I have a home, thanks God.
We require people to volunteer.
You need to see a counselor? Just a minute, let me see if I can get someone for you.
In whatever way they feel comfortable.
Being part of the demonstrations, helping out at a Save the Dream event, helping in our offices, helping getting the word out.
There is no fight that is too big or too small, that together we cannot win.
Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America is one of the greatest home buying programs there is.
Because it can really change the course of your life, the course of life that you create for your family. Greatest program in America, honestly.
The door of NACA are open for you. Go next week, make an appointment, I'll get you home.
Welcome to the NACA family.
Let it shine for NACA. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine for NACA. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
All right, what do you guys think about the video? All right, so I thought that was important to let you know how we came to be and to do what we do. We do have resources, and our footprint is not as great in Alabama, but we want to change that, okay? And get some of the resources and those funds here to target our communities. And so that's what our leaders want to do, is partner with NACA to bring these resources to you so you can have your home, right? And we're going to put the slideshow back up, please. So we actually have offices throughout the United States, over 48 states we're located. And, all right, and then we have a lot of bad actors in the industry, but we have effective operations and advocacy. There was a lot of hard work that went into getting the program here for us. We're the largest nonprofit HUD-approved community advocacy and home ownership organization in the country. We do over 30% of the counseling through HUD. So we're listed as a HUD-certified counseling agency under the State's Department of Housing and Urban Development. We have an incredible track record, and we're relentless And so what we intend to do is set the national standard. There's no other mortgage like NACA. I worked in banking for about 20 years, and it really is different. I've worked with NACA for about 2.5 years, so I've actually seen firsthand what it can do for families. Closed several transactions here on the ground in Birmingham. So it's real, and we're here to do even more of those things for you. Let's go to the next slide. All of our services are free. So the counseling is free. And we'll talk about the next slide. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. There's several departments at NACA. Counseling operations, I work in that department as a mortgage counselor. We also have housing counselors as well. And the mortgage department is simply underwriting. So we have full underwriting. So you know, if you go to other lenders, they will more or less give you a pre-qualification. We do a full underwriting. You come to our office, full underwriting. Our underwriting is more rigorous than the banks. So you're fully underwritten as long as you don't go out and buy a Cadillac, or I had somebody do that. That's why I bring it. Or go out and charge up, change your situation. You're fully underwritten. You're approved, right? All right, and real estate department, of course, that consists of our real estate agents, and we don't have any in-house NACA real estate agents. You're free to use your own real estate agent. The home and neighborhood department is short for, that's our hand department. They are in charge of making sure the houses are structurally sound. They'll review the inspection reports when you're after your inspections come in through NACA and make sure that your house is safe structurally. And they'll review the pest inspections as well. Member services, that's just customer service. So if you have general questions, customer service number is in that book. So you can call any time during the week if you have any questions about the process. The home save department is more or less for people who are current homeowners. If you're having issues with paying your mortgage, if you know anybody that has a home, they have issues. We have legally binding agreements with a lot of the major banks to help folks modify unaffordable mortgages. Okay, so that's our home save department. Advocacy department. As you can see, we're advocates. We march. We try to tackle issues in our community that are important to you. So we have, if you have any issues you want to discuss later, there's a department that handles that. We'll go out and march and preach and do what we have to do to get things changed in the community. So next slide. We are hiring. I'm the only counselor in Alabama right now. So we need help. So if go to the website, if you know anybody that needs a job, it'd be a great learning experience, and we definitely need more people on the ground to help out. And we're hiring all over the country, actually. We're looking for good people. So know your family in other states, let them know. We're located on the ground in most states. Okay. Next slide. All right. As we mentioned earlier, we don't consider you clients, we consider you members in the proper organization. So so that members are any adult living in the household 21 years of age and older. Okay? And when you fill out your application, we need you to provide complete information. And we'll talk more about that later, about providing complete information in the portal. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Eligibility. So these are 5 things that we need you, will make you eligible. Okay, so if you're an investor, this is not for you. It's not for investors. It's for homeowners. No member can own a house at NACA closing. However, I've gotten folks qualified that are current homeowners, but before closing, they have to transfer that property, sell that property, but they cannot have ownership in another property at closing. And we want you to occupy the property for as long as you have the NACA mortgage. Once you become a homeowner through the NACA mortgage. Participation, we ask that you participate with us because that's how we survive so long. We get participation from our members. Voter registration. We believe that all that we want you to be active in your community politically. That's how changes are made. So we believe that every household member should be a registered voter. There are exceptions, religious exceptions, and whether or not it's a penal or uh, criminal charges involved. So there are exceptions to that voter registration. All right, next. All right. You can actually go to canivote.org if you're not registered to vote. And your commitment to be an active homeowner in your community includes registering to vote. All right. If it's legally permissible, like we discussed earlier. All right. Okay. And then if you're not registered, I can help you register. One of the councils can help you register once you sign up to have your first session with us or appointment. All right. Next. All right. They changed the slides a little bit. So basically, we have what we call as priority and non-priority members. So priority, NACA, we focus on low to moderate income members. Okay, so if you're a priority, that means your income is less than 100% of the metropolitan statistical area. So we have a map, right? So in Birmingham, the median income is about $83,000. So if you make the low $83,000 in Birmingham and certain zip codes, you're considered a priority member, which means that you get the benefit of having a lower interest rate and you can purchase anywhere in that area. So this is just a brief overview. Our councils will help you to determine whether or not you're priority or not. Non-priority is that your income is going to be greater than the MSA median family income. The same example, if you make over the $83,000 in Birmingham, that means that you may not be able to get the lower interest rate, basically, right? A non-priority member can only purchase in a census tract where the household income is equal to or less than 100%. So if you fall into one of those categories, we'll go over that with you. Most of our members are priority. Next. What makes us the best mortgage in the country? All right, who's purchased a home before outside of NACA? All right. All right, look at these benefits, ma'am, in the back. If you like to participate. So with NACA's mortgage, no down payment. Did you have a down payment with your mortgage when you purchased? Okay. How much, if you don't mind sharing, like your down payment amount, or was it like 3% down? Or? More than 3%? Okay. So I would say, oh, let's say 200, well, $150,000 house with a 10% down payment is $15,000, right? With NACA, there's no down payment requirement. So that's one of the obstacles that we remove so that you can become a homeowner. Are there any other obstacles? Yes, ma'am. It's completely gone. We don't add any down payment on the back end. Okay. What are some of the other obstacles that prevent you from becoming a homeowner? Can you guys think of anything as to why? Yes. Credit score. Okay. Yes. So credit score, we have no credit score requirement. Okay. Does that mean anything to anybody? Have you ever applied for a loan and you had like a 490 credit score? You go to the bank, you apply for a loan, they're like, don't call us. We won't call you, right? So we have no credit score. However, we do want you to pay your bills on time. I have members who are arguing with me, but if you can't pay a $20 credit card payment on time, we have a greater issue. We're gonna have to find some more resources or find another job. but or commitment. You said commitment, right? So I have a lot of people stop the process over $20 late credit report payment. Like, pay on time. If you're committed, we're here for as long as it takes, right? So Pastor Little John said earlier, if it takes you a year, are you willing to work a year to change something that you worked a lifetime to develop? If you've never budgeted before, can you budget? If so I have some members who are not paying on time. They have the money. They're just like, I forgot, I'll pay it later. No. Okay, so we have to make a commitment to pay on time, right? Closing costs, okay? Closing costs is an additional fee that most lenders charge, right? And it can run about, what, 3 to 4% out of pocket in addition to the down payment. So that can run you $6,000 maybe, just for an estimate. So you have your down payment and your closing costs. That's another barrier, right? We have no closing costs, all right? No points or fees. What's a point or a fee? Does anybody know? So when you go to a normal lender, you go down the street to Fargo, they may say, okay, we're going to charge you an origination fee. You're like, okay, that's great. So basically, they're charging you a percentage of the loan to pay the loan officer, or it's just an additional fee to enrich the bank. So that's another fee out of pocket, right? Below market fixed rate. Who sets the interest rates? Does anybody know? Ma'am? Federal government, yes? Participation. Okay. Geneva's getting a T-shirt. Yes. The lender. The lender. But they're okay. The Fed set the rate, but the lender sets the interest rates in terms of a credit score. So if you go to a bank, they'll say, okay, you have a credit score of 500, so we'll give you this interest rate. If it's 550, you get a separate interest rate. If it's 600, you get another type of interest rate. So with us, everybody gets the same interest rate. He says the bank, but the federal government, yeah. She gets a T-shirt too. Okay, she gets a T-shirt too. All right. From here on out, if I miss anybody, if you participate, you get a T-shirt as well. So, all right. No mortgage insurance. What is mortgage insurance? I mean, yeah. Yes. What is it, ma'am? Yes, you do have homeowners insurance, and then we have the mortgage insurance is separate from the homeowners insurance. Okay. That's correct. Okay, so that's one. Yeah, we do have the homeowners insurance, but we also have something called the mortgage insurance. Most lenders would charge a mortgage insurance to protect the lender. It's to protect, yeah, okay, it's to protect the lender in the case of default, actually. So we don't charge mortgage insurance. However, you will have to pay homeowners insurance. So you will have to get a quote, just like you get a car insurance, you would have to get mortgage insurance. That's the homeowner insurance. But we don't charge mortgage insurance, which is separate from homeowners insurance. Right. Right. So yeah, we think it's a racket, and so you don't have to pay the mortgage insurance when you have a NACA mortgage. And then we have interest rate buy down. So whatever the interest rate that we give you, you have the option to buy a lower interest rate. And that's important when you're trying to increase your purchase price. or lower your payment, you can buy a lower interest rate. Okay, and we'll show you how to do that if you have additional funds, but it's not mandatory. So, all right. And we mentioned no perfect credit score, which is huge. Um, as long as we can get you to pay those bills on time for 1 year, some of you are ready now. But if you're not, don't worry about it because, like I said, we'll work with you on that and to pay your bills on time for 1 year consistently. No consideration of credit score. Next screen, next slide, please. All right. This is a breakdown of the closing costs that we do not charge, right? If you go to a normal lender, sometimes I have members, I'm like, well, they'll go shop and they may come back, but the lender fees can be anywhere from 3% and up of the loan amount. So these you save with NACA, and these fees are paid by our bank. All right, ma'am, do you want to read that for me? Yes. Yeah, just read all of them. Origination fees. Mhm. Yes, exactly. So these are a lot of fees that you save when you come through NACA. We'll take care of those for you. Next, please. All right, and then the interest rate is posted every daily on our website. You can go to www.naca.com and see the interest rate of the day. And our interest rates are fixed for the life of the loan. Okay, and we have loans. The loan terms include 15-year, 20-year, and 30-year. And we have $20 billion committed to our mortgage. So we have more than enough resources on the ground here in Alabama to help us get into our homes. And $15 billion of that is from Bank of America, which is Bank of America is our biggest partner. Okay, next. Everyone receives below market fixed interest rate based on their income or where they purchase. So if you're a priority member, you will receive 1% reduction in the already below market interest rate. So that's a benefit to coming to NACA. And I do get a lot of some folks coming from other lenders. The affordability is so low, but with our low, we give you a lower rate, you can afford more house. Does that make sense? Income. So basically, just to emphasize, we focus on low to moderate income members. We serve everyone, but that's our target market. And so we focus on the income, which is 100% or less of the AMI and the MSA where you're purchasing. Higher income members purchase in a lower income neighborhood. Does that mean that's a bad neighborhood? No. If you go to different sets of Birmingham, the median income may be 100,000, but you can purchase in the neighborhood where it's less than where the median income is less than 100,000. So we'll talk more about that. This is meant to be a general overview. So, and higher income members purchasing in a higher income area still get the benefits of our loan. That if you have a high income and a high income area, you're still going to get no down payment, no closing costs, no mortgage insurance, no credit consideration of credit score. All right, next. We talked a little bit about the interest rate buy down, right? Can anybody explain to me what interest rate buy down means? We kind of went over it a little bit. Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, we were talking about the interest rate. So, Diego, what's today's interest rate? That's right. What's yesterday's interest rate? Today is Saturday. Okay, sorry about that. You do the same. Right. Okay. So the interest rate is just the cost of using the bank's money. So it's 5.5%. So basically, what we're saying is you can pay to have a lower rate than the interest rate of the day. If it's 5.5, it will give you the option to buy it down to 4.5 or 5%, right? We'll help you calculate that. So when the interest rate, say for instance, if your mortgage is 100,000, if you buy the rate down, you could now go up to 105, 110,000. It just depends on the interest rate and the cost. You say, okay, Johnny, I'm done. It's optional. I have my money to close on this property, but I have some extra money. I want to buy down my interest rate because I believe that when I buy down my rate, I can get a higher purchase price. Right? Does that make sense? All right, and so for the 30-year and the 20-year fixed mortgage, for every 1.5% of the loan amount, it permanently reduces the interest rate by 1/4 of 1%. The 15-year wealth builder mortgage. Why do we call that a 15-year wealth builder mortgage? Why would we call it that? Does anybody know? She gets a T-shirt. A plus answer. Yeah, so you own the house free and clear after 15 years, right? So then you accumulate equity in the home. What does equity mean? Right. Okay. Okay, very good. All right. So your buy down amount is limited to about 5 to 6% of the mortgage, excluding seller's contribution. Okay. And so that's a conversation that you can have with your counselor if you want to explore the option of buying down your interest rate. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So, what's your name, ma'am? June? Jennifer. She said it nicely. She summed this all up. It's you get a lower starting rate with the versus the 20-year and 15-year. So you get a lower rate with the 15-year mortgage, and then you can buy down the interest rate more aggressively. You build equity faster, and you're mortgage free in half the time, right? So we encourage you to look at that. Of course, when you do the 15-year mortgage versus the 30-year, yeah, it's a little bit higher because you're paying the 15 years versus 30 years, right? Okay. Next screen, please. All right. What sets us apart too is we're in the business of revitalizing neighborhoods, right? So let's say you want to buy a house in a neighborhood you have a relationship with, your family grew up in this neighborhood, but the house needs a little work. We would give you the purchase price in addition to rehab money, one loan. Okay, and so you can make it what you want it to be. As long as you can afford the rehab cost, we'll roll the cost into the loan. All right. So that's how we intend to revitalize neighborhoods, and and then too, if it's extensive work, there's no mortgage payment for up to 6 months. Okay, and we will have to get bids. You will have the contractor do bids on the work, and then you submit that to the hand department. The seller can actually agree to do some of those repairs or a combination. So you can say the seller can do some repairs, you can do the repairs. It's whatever you negotiate. The seller may say, I don't want to do anything, but the seller will have the option to say yes or no if you will work with your real estate agent on the contract to see if they would do that for you. Yes, ma'am. Yes. We have a list of contractors that we work with. However, you're free to use the contractor of your choice. The contractor has to be licensed and bonded. Have some people bring folks in that's not licensed and bonded. We won't use those contractors. All right, next. All right, so we will fund almost just about any type of property. Do y'all have any questions regarding what type properties we can finance? Most people want a single family home, but do y'all have any questions as to different types of properties? Where? I got these bifocals on, still looking. Where is she? Yes, you have a question? We'll go up to 4 units, as long as you live in one of the units. Okay? And so if you do that, we require that you take a landlord class, because now you become a landlord and you're renting out the other units, right? We'll finance up to 4 unit property. Right. Mhm. Right. Any other questions regarding property type? Yes, ma'am. She said, remember the video where the guy said he didn't have a mortgage payment? Yeah. Yes, he had a tenant in the other unit paying him rent. Therefore, it covered his mortgage payment. So he didn't have to pay any mortgage payment. Right. All right. Any other questions before we move on? All right. Okay. Next. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes. We go up to loan limits. We're going to review that. I want to say $485,000 is our loan limit. Yeah. So, yeah, that we do have limits. Very good question. All right. We can give out T-shirts whenever they're ready. Okay, she's gonna wait. Okay. All right. Okay. Did you have any? Okay, very good. All right. Next slide, please. All right. So, NACA is too good to be true, but I do have a lot of folks. I have them go out there and look at other loan programs. A lot of my folks come back. I had one lady that stayed with another lender. Payment was $300 more with the other lender, but she decided to go with the other lender. $300 times for 30 years is how much? Can somebody do the numbers on that for me? That's 360 months. So can somebody do that for me? $300 times 360 months. $300 a month times 360 months. 360. Yes. How much? Yeah, so she said, I don't want to wait an extra 2 months to close with you guys. I'd rather pay $300 more a month. That's $108,000 for 30 years. So she, yeah, she was impatient and they pay. Of course, they charge more interest and more. They charge that mortgage insurance. So she paid $300 more. I said, okay, well, good luck. And, you know, most people come back, but the NACA mortgage versus conventional loan. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, we will finance mixed use projects. Excuse me? I can't hear. Oh, up to $484,000. All right. Conventional loan. Who knows what a conventional loan is? It's usually A paper. When you go to another lender, you have to have a certain credit score. It's A paper. No blemishes on the credit. Um, then you will have to normally put down 20% down payment. All right. Non-traditional loans are usually, back in the day, we referred to some of those for bad credit, subprime lending. They have very high interest rates. Government loans, FHA, VA, USDA loans, a lot of those have the mortgage insurance. and down payment requirement. USDA, however, has some, I think they're like 100% loans with no down payment. So we encourage our members to shop, or I shouldn't say shop, do your due diligence to find out what's in the marketplace so you know what you're getting, right? It's good to be informed. And a lot of times when folks come back to NACA, at least I feel like they have a higher chance to close too because they know what they're getting and they work even harder to close, right? Um, yes. No, we don't do VA loans. Our loan is better. We actually had a manager, when the office director before I came to NACA, and she's a veteran, but she chose a NACA mortgage. We don't have the VA funding fee. We had a lower rate at the time. You're fixed for the life of the loan. The interest rate is fixed for the life of the loan. So, well, you're locked in for the life of the loan, so there's no, we won't lower the rate. Okay. However, we have something interesting happening in Alabama. Bruce Marks is rolling out a refinance product, due in part to us talking to petitions here in Alabama. We're going to roll out a refinance product, and it's going to be targeted towards folks who need repairing their homes. So I'm excited for that. So that's something that he just put into place, and so we'll be rolling that out next year, which would be fantastic to help revitalize our communities for folks who need to fix up their houses that are in disrepair. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's due. Yeah, so basically, you can we can implement the buy down before you close on the transaction. Right. All right. Next slide, please. Great questions, Crystal. I hope you're keeping up with all these T-shirt sizes. They gonna get you. Not after you close. Okay. All right. Does this mortgage sound too good to be true? Show of hands. All right. So why do you think we're able to offer it based on everything that we went over today? Why do you think we're able to offer this program? Advocacy, right. Before there was a mortgage, Bruce Marks was marching, fighting. You saw the protests. And as a result of the advocacy, the banks caved in and say, hey, we don't want to be terrorized anymore. You know, we want to work with you guys. And then we were able to set up our offices, the nonprofit side, and also set up the, it now licensed through the National Mortgage Licensing System to provide the program. Okay. So it's not without challenges that we're here. So a lot of work went into this morning. Okay. So you saw we targeted bank after bank after bank after bank until, it just didn't happen overnight. Before he got his first win, there was advocacy and marches for about 4 years, right? And now we're here 38 years later. All right. All right. Next slide. Testimonials. I don't know if I should bring Crystal up here because she like to roast me sometimes. But we have some homeowners here that actually went through the program. And so I want to bring Crystal up here to talk about her process and her journey to get her home. And I would love for Mr. Bowman to share his testimony if he'd like. Okay. Oh, he will? Okay, awesome. All right.
Good morning. So the first thing I want you all to keep 783 in the back of your mind for 1 second. She said I was gonna roast her, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do it today. But I have because when we started the process, She just kept telling us, "You're going to close." I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her, not because I didn't think that we could do it, but I was looking at these things and I was like, it's got to be a catch. Where is the catch? Once you try to figure out what the catch is, I was like, it's got to be something else to it. I'm just waiting to find out what it was. But it was nothing. If there is a catch, it's going to be you. You're going to hold up the process. You're going to keep yourself from moving forward. Don't do that. Block out the outside noise. Whatever you hear, whatever you heard about the program, the good, the bad, and the ugly, block it out. Everybody has their own story. You have to create your own story. You have to break down these barriers that are there, because even if you don't have children that you're going to leave this to, you have to enjoy life right now. And if a house is obviously what you all are wanting, you took the first step being here this morning. My husband didn't want to come football on this morning today, but he but he saw the process. He saw the fact that we've been married 12 years. 10 of those 12 years we stayed in an apartment. Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing. That one we my parents, because we thought that we were further along with another lender than what we really were. This we will be coming up on 1 year, December 3rd, of when we just closed in 2021. The 783 that I asked y'all to keep in your mind, just throw out numbers of how much you all are spending on rent right now. Just throw them out. 800. And it's steady going up. It's steady going up. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. I know that y'all have heard that several times this morning, but that's exactly what you're doing. When I look and see the apartment that we moved out of and do that amount times 12, it made me sick to my stomach. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm helping somebody else live their dream. It's not fair. It's not fair to anybody that's doing it. And when something like this falls into your lap, when something like this is available to you, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. The 783, Paul mentioned earlier, we moved out to Calera. It's a little ways, but it's in the country. But we were able to get a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, um, pre-existing structure. Um, but it was everything that we had wrote down. You have to write your plan down. You have to make it plain. That's Bible, but you have to make your plan. You have to write it down and you have to execute it. You have to do that. But I mentioned the 783 because that's all our mortgage is. $783 sitting on 2 acres of land. So that's why I asked y'all to keep that 783. Do not look at the hurdles that may come. You may not even have any, but don't look at those hurdles that may come and be like, oh, I can't do this. No, you got to keep pushing. Just like she just mentioned about it took them 30 years to get where we are now to offer this program. Things aren't going to happen overnight, but that doesn't mean that they can't happen. So you have to keep pushing past the negativity. You have to keep pushing past, well, we need this other document from you. Some people, they get hung up on, well, I went through NACA and they kept asking for the same document. Get them the paper. Just get them the paper. It's no different than you going down to Regions or going down to Wells Fargo. They're gonna ask you for the exact same thing. Now, whether they ask you for it more than once, that's different. But it is a process, y'all. I promise you, if you listen to her, she might get on your nerves, but I promise you, she will get you. Yeah, I slid that in there. But she will get you where you need to be. I promise you. If you do what she asked you to do, I promise you. We started in January and we closed in December. So don't say that it's not possible, y'all, because I promise you that it is. I promise you, we have 2 small children. And the fact that they're able to go out in the front yard and I don't have to worry about nobody coming by swiping them up, that's well shooting them, you're right. But that, if nothing else, that gave me the encouragement to do that. Now when I hear them making plans of when me and their daddy leave here, that's how their mind work. But when me and their daddy leave here, they gonna have a house. Those are the type of conversations that I want to hear. I don't say that in front of them, but I want them to have that mindset that if they can do it, we can come along and do that too and pass this down to our children. It's not just for us right now, it's leaving them something. It's giving them an opportunity to say, well, my mom and my daddy did this for us. We're going to keep that going. Y'all, please push past the negativity. I promise you, you can do it. And we're here to help. We're volunteering to do this because we were exactly sitting, not this church, but we were sitting exactly where y'all were a couple of years ago. We attended the seminar just like you all are doing today. And I promise you, we ran from it for a while because I was like, something is not right. I just got to figure out what it is first. But something is not adding up. They don't want any money from us, but they giving us a house. Something's not right. But once I changed my mindset, and my husband changed his mindset because he was on board all along, but I was just like, something just not right. Because I kept hearing different stories. But if you change your mindset, I promise you, y'all, you can do this. It's attainable. It's right here in front of you. And we're here to help in any way that we can. Answer any questions. My husband always tell me, you shouldn't be telling people how much we pay for mortgage. But I like to weigh that because I'm over here paying $600 or $1,600 for rent, and I'm having to call them 3 or 4 times to come and fix something in our apartment, or it don't get fixed at all. You have to weigh your options. You have to weigh, you have to do the pros and the cons of what you're doing right now and what you can do different. Y'all, I promise you, it can happen. It can happen. You got anything?
Good morning, everybody. Sounds like she wasn't roasting Johnny, but she up here roasting me. But we started the process. NACA was introduced to us many, many years ago, and I'm a skeptical. I know a lot of people may be, because like my wife said, it just sounded too good to be true. We started out our home buying process with a traditional lender, and our closing costs and our down payment, we were heading to the closing table. What God has for you, it is for you. Credit score can't stop it. Lenders can't stop it. Man can't stop it. What God has for you, it is for you. So the traditional lender that we had, we were headed to the closing table, y'all. Y'all hear me? We were headed to the closing table. We were 2 weeks out from closing. And I get a phone call. We moved out of our apartment. We uprooted our kids out of school in the Hoover school system. We moved in with my mother and father-in-law. We were planning to be there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I get a phone call coming from work one day, and that's our lender. And she said, Mr. Bowman, we have an issue. And I said, what's the issue? Something with the paperwork had got crossed up. And so that house fell through. And to see the disappointment on my wife's face, y'all, I could not take it. So we stepped back from the house process for about 3 or 4 months because we were broken. We were disgusted. This is our first time buying a home. We should be excited. We were disgusted. And my wife mentioned to me after me coming from one of my business appointments, and she said, what about NACA? And of course, I didn't want to hear about anything. We had looked at so many houses, I was just done. But the Lord humbled me, and he spoke to me, and he said, try it. And I think it was that following Monday that we reached out to NACA, and we got our counselor, Miss Johnny. When I tell y'all, I'm not going to roast her. When I tell y'all she was God sent, she was God sent. That other lender was not as hands-on as Miss Johnny was. She took us by our hands, and she walked us through the process step by step by step. And we appreciate you. Not only did we gain a house, but we gained a friend. And when I say one of the few words that she told us, maybe the very second, third conversation that we had, she said, if you do everything that I tell you to do, when we ask for paperwork, get the paperwork, then you will close. Now, mind you, it got a little tedious now because she kept on saying, savings pattern, don't buy this and don't go get this. And I'm like, we pitching pennies over here, Miss Johnny. we need to get, no, she said, don't do that, don't do that. And so my wife mentioned the 783. We went from paying $1,204 for a 2 bedroom to $783 for 2 acres and 2,700 square feet, y'all. And so what God has for you, it is for you. It gets a little tedious. You get a little impatient. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I promise you, you cannot beat the NACA program. If you have a little patience, if you just work hard, and if you do what your counselor tells you to do, any paperwork, don't buy this and don't buy that, you will close and you will become a homeowner. So I do thank God for NACA. I thank God for Miss Johnny. And I thank God for all of y'all because y'all are taking the first step in becoming homeowners. So God bless you all.
Thank you, Bowman family. And yeah, it can be, this is why I do what I do, because sometimes I have to fight to get you to see what's possible, or to, it's a mind thing, really. But if you're not accustomed to it, sometimes, I mean, life is going to continue to be hard. You know, the economy is probably going to get worse. The thing that can change is your mindset. And then if you're serious about change, then you might, you can change your mind if you can't change anything else. Things get hard, you do it anyways, or you try. If I get people give up, if I ask for too many documents, or they give up, if they have to pay on time for 6 months to a year. But it's a clear path to home ownership. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If there's any issues, I'm going to tell you. Some people get up, I can't do this, and I forget it. So it's emotional intelligence. It's also act of faith. It's different for everybody, right? But I had to become a believer too. So now, I've been with NACA 2.5 years. It's time to really get out. I know more than I knew 2.5 years ago, and it's real. And it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to do the work, okay? So, I mean, as good as it is, we're going to need documents, and we're going to need you to budget. And it's like a bad word for a lot of people. So most people come in. So, but let's turn the slides back on, and we're going to finish. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Yes. All right. So, all right, we talked a little bit. This is more of the same. We kind of like repetition is good to learn, but you can choose the real estate agent of your choice. Um, but you want a real estate. Okay, we don't have a real estate agent here today, do we? Do we have any real estate agents? All right. Okay. All right. Have you worked with NACA before? Okay. Do you want to come up and talk a little bit about it? I mean, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview. It'll be good because I love working with agents that have worked with NACA before. It kind of can give you an overview if you want, ma'am. But you want to work with somebody that knows about NACA, because if they don't, we have a few extra steps, and most realtors want to get to that closing to get that check. But with NACA, we have the nonprofit side is a few extra steps. So it's kind of good to work with someone who's familiar with NACA. Yeah, just 1 second. Just if you want to stand right here, it's fine. I think so. And what's your name, ma'am?
Tammy King.
Tammy King. Okay. So if you want to share just 2 minutes about your experience with NACA.
Okay. Again, my name is Tammy King. I'm with Posh Realty. I closed the NACA deal. It's been about 3-4 years ago, and her situation was the one where you mentioned where you can actually use funds to fix the house up. So we went through the process, searched and searched for a house. And that particular house that we found, and it was actually Fultondale. I don't know if y'all know about Fultondale, and it was a newer home, but the house, the people that lived there previously, they needed, that's another story. However, it needed like new floors and some other minor stuff. to go through it. Well, I'm not going to mention my client's name, however, she had been going through the process with NACA, which of course everything that she said, and I had no knowledge about NACA at all, and which is the reason why I'm here today, because I love to get knowledge to give to my clients. And she was telling me about everything, and we went through the process. We found the house. Um, she found a contractor after we went through the process of everything with NACA. Like y'all say, it's a lot of documents, but I'm gonna tell y'all, it's worth it. Do not give up. Always have a positive mindset. I don't care how many times they ask for that document. Go ahead, have it on the side of you. Provide what they ask for because it's worth it. It is truly worth it. When she moved into the house, well, once we closed, she had the contractor to do the work so that she could go ahead and move into the house, which again it was like a flooring and stuff like that with the budget that they had set aside. But at the end of the day, I promise y'all, it is truly worth it because this was her first time purchasing a home. She was staying with her grandmother, and it was just a blessing. It was truly a blessing, and like I said, it was a learning experience for both of us because I knew nothing about that, but it was truly a blessing to her financially because she wanted to get her home for her. She had one son. She has one son, and to go from staying with your grandmother to having your own, and it's a newer home, it's just truly a blessing.
For your testimony. And we do have a realtor overview if you want to use a realtor of your choice. We do have a realtor overview that's given every week, and the realtors can sign up on NACA.com under vendors section um, to get an overview, because if they don't, they'll get real frustrated because we're not like most lenders. We're gonna, have a few extra steps in there to close, but it's worth it because you can't find these benefits in other lenders, right? So we want to go back. Okay, all right. Of course, you want a realtor that has that works full time. They may know the neighborhoods a little bit better, but still, you can choose any realtor you want. Um, you want to know that realtor can negotiate on your behalf and communicates with you on a regular basis. Because it's not as bad as it was a year ago when the houses were selling like hotcakes. But you want somebody that can like get the offers in quick, communicate with you, and it's really pushing to get you to find that house for you. We ask that you sign a buyer's representation agreement, and you can terminate that agreement at any time. All right. All right, and then outside agents are encouraged to learn about NACA. We give those classes every Tuesday at noon on Eastern Standard Time. They can go to the website to sign up. Okay, next screen. All right, we don't have any in-house agents as of yet. We're working on that. So let's go ahead and go to the next screen. All right, next, we don't have in-house agents. All right, budget. I think that this is definitely something that you guys need to work on right away is budgeting. Most people don't know where 20% of their income goes. And so I encourage you before your first appointment to um, start on that budget right away. Now we have it. Once you go to the web portal, you can actually fill out your budget online now. But it's an eye opener, so it's painful, but you can do it, right? We had about 2 people raise their hands, right? Who does budgeting on a regular basis? Oh, very good. So everybody's gonna have to do it to get to NACA, actually. And then if it's unrealistic, we just throw numbers together. We'll kick it back. We want you to look at your bank statement and look at your credit report and actually capture what you're spending every month, right? Very, very important. So we're going to ask you to do something you've never done before. So we want you to start now, and it's doable, right? Just take some time, and we'll get you there. And it's called, we call it reality counseling, right? So you're going to look at what you believe, because some people put what they believe they're paying and what they're actually paying is 2 different things, all right? So we want you to identify and reduce unnecessary and wasteful spending. You heard Crystal say, I was saying, you need to cut back on some of those unnecessary expenses, right? I have some great examples of folks who are balling out of control. I have a bunch of young folks. I mean, they're making their money. I just want to give an example. I won't give any names. I have a nurse who's making like 70 some $1,000s as an RN at the VA hospital. Her boyfriend pays all the bills, but she has a gift to spend. If she deposits 4, she's spending 5. Negative. Ruth's Chris, you go to the beach, Orange Beach every month, and you're going to do jet skis and boats. Great life, but that's your house. That's your house note. So she's still working. It's been over a year and a half, and she's still spending. But we hope that she squares it up a little bit so we can get her into a house. But yeah, we will look at the budget if your lifestyle can't prevent you from getting a house, right? We'll talk more about that later. Next screen. So the next few days, we want you to use your portal and input your income, bank statements, other information. We want to get a real picture of whether or not you can afford a house based on your spending pattern. Okay. I had one lady was doing the, I know I'm gonna say it wrong. Hookah, 175 a week. How much is that per month? The hookah bars. She was spending $175 a week. $800, and that was that prevented her from moving forward to clothing. Right? She went with another lender. She was so upset, but everything was done. But I look back at the bank statements when we got ready to go to credit access, and she started spending all the money on the $800 habit. Okay, so we're gonna look at your lifestyle to see if you can afford the house. Is that more important than getting your house? Can we get another less expensive habit? Next, can I get a cheaper vice? No. Right, that bar is that very expensive, right? So what are you willing to give up to budget? Of course, you have your necessary expenses, then there's unnecessary expenses, right? Can you think of something that you can forego? It's almost like giving up something so you can get your house in order if you need to. Okay, so when we look at the budget, we look at what you can afford. We're also going to look at the funds that you've saved and whether or not you're living beyond your means, right? So we want you to be honest on what you're spending every month, and we want you to have at least $200 left over after you pay all your bills, right? So we'll discuss that, and now we, as counselors, we go through that with you to see whether or not you're saving, okay? Then we're also going to talk about payment shock. Crystal mentioned payment shock savings, okay? Crystal, can you explain to me what payment shock savings is? Because that's huge. Right. Right. So let's say you have a rent. Your rent is $500, but you can qualify for $1,000 rent payment. Okay. So what's the difference between the rent payment and the $500 rent payment and your $1,000? So we're gonna look to see if you can save $500. We want you to practice making mortgage payments. You're already paying $500 on rent, right? I want you to save that $500 for 3 to 6 months. Any questions? Usually I get questions. The last home buyers workshop, a young lady was like, well, how am I gonna pay my bills and save? I said, exactly. If you can't save that 500, can you really afford to mortgage at 1,000, right? Does that make sense? I knew somebody was thinking it. All right, next screen. You can come on in, ma'am. Okay. All right. Okay. NACA uses your current housing payment as the baseline for your affordable payment. So whatever you're paying for rent, um, that's your baseline. So we believe that if you can pay rent, you can pay a mortgage payment, right? That's your baseline. And the mortgage payment includes principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Okay, so if the rent is the baseline, we want to see on-time rent payments for at least 1 year. Okay? We don't want you to deplete your savings during the process. It's important that we don't deplete the savings. Um, we've had some instances where we get to closing and folks spend the savings. We want you to maintain your savings throughout the process and don't increase debt. So if I see your debt going up, your credit card debt, I had a young lady go and charge up the credit card debt $2,000 plus during the process. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are you ready for home ownership with something else going on? So, we think that's an indication of something else. Could you say that louder, please? Possibly. Any questions on determining an affordable payment? All right, next slide. All right, we mentioned a little bit about paper shock, the difference between your current housing payment or your rent payment and your desired maximum mortgage payment. We want you to save the payment shock savings for 3 to 6 months. And we're going to analyze the bank statement, okay? We're going to see whether or not you're increasing in credit card debt. Like if you go out and charge that credit card up, we're going to say something is going on where you need that money and your debt is going up while going through the process. That's a problem. So we want to watch that. We want to see if you're taking out any new loans. We're allergic to payday loans. The high interest loans, that's a problem. We probably won't close if you go out and get a bunch of those or get the payday loans. I've seen underwriters stop the whole process and say, you have to pay that loan off. Okay, that's predatory lending, and if you have to get one of those, that may be an indication that you're in trouble somehow. You have to get one of those high interest loans. We believe they take advantage of folks, and we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to stop paying into your retirement. Okay, we don't want you to move funds back and forth. You're still going to find out that there's really no increase in savings. So if you're saying, okay, I transfer money to my savings, but you have a negative spending pattern in your checking, every account that you give us, we're going to analyze all the banking data to see what your true savings is, okay? So I have people transferring funds between 4 different accounts, but I'm saving in my savings account. The system is automatically going to spit out a net savings, okay? So we want to be careful. All right. So, do I have a volunteer to read that question at the bottom? It's pretty much the same, more of the same, but I want you to get it. Do I have a volunteer? Yes, ma'am. Read loud. Do you need the microphone? Okay. Anybody? $300. You got it. Okay. So we can get those concepts down. Great. What happens if you can't save $300 in this example? Excuse me? Right. We're going to say $700. If you're making that rent payment on time for $700, that's your baseline. Because we're saying that you don't have enough money to, even though you're making the money, your debt is this, but we're looking at that bank statement, you're spent, your lifestyle won't allow you to get the higher payment, right? Our foreclosure rate, by the way, is, Diego, is at 0.002%. You know. Yes. Okay. So when we do this is in part, the counseling that we provide is to help you stay in the home, prevent foreclosure. So if you go to another bank, they may or may not, you know, focus on your lifestyle or the spending pattern, but we're huge on that because we want you to get something you can actually afford. We don't want to put you in a situation that's going to hurt you and you lose the house, right? Next screen. Cash flow verification. We're going to analyze that bank statement. So when we look at the bank statement, we want to see that you're depositing the income. We're looking for the income being deposited to that statement, rent being paid, your debt being paid. We're going to look at expenses. We're going to look at one-time deposits and expenses for payment stock calculation. So one-time deposit, so that's any non-payroll deposit. So if it's not from your job, we're going to take that out of the equation. So if you get like a lump sum payment for your birthday, if your boyfriend gave you $500, we're not going to count that as savings. Tax return refunds, we won't count that as savings. Stuff, that one-time deposits that is not from your job, we won't count. We'll take it out of the savings pattern. Let's say you have one-time expenses. So we say, well, you would have saved, but you had to pay a medical bill. We can count that as savings. We'll add that in. Or one-time expenses, car maintenance. We will count that as savings, right? If you have any other questions regarding the cash flow verification through the bank statements? So at application, we're going to ask for 3 months bank statements. If you're renting from a landlord, if you're renting from family, we need 6 months bank statements. Or living with family, 6 months bank statements. If you're self-employed, we need 12 months bank statements. Okay, we're going to take a brief. We're going to take a break. Give us about, what do you think, Diego? 5 to 10 minutes? 10 minutes? 10-minute break. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and finish up. So we're not here all day. It was great to talk to people. And that's awesome. Everybody had a lot of great questions. But definitely, we're located in Homewood. We can continue the conversation there at the office if you want to stop by. Let me know if you're going to stop by. We're usually booked up all day, but and also the documents that we're referring to, we have equipment for you to come and print out documents at the office, and you can also scan. We have scanners to scan the documents in. The complete documentation. One issue that holds you up, if you ask for a statement, if the statement has a page number on it, we need it. Sometimes I get people who take a picture of the balance on the bank statement. I need a complete bank statement, all pages. So 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 3 of 6, 4 of 6, 5 of 6, all the way up to 6 of 6. I like get a lot of incomplete documents that will hold you up. So I want to let you know up front that we need complete documentation to get you through the process. That's one of the biggest things that we need is complete docs. I can't say it enough. All right. All right, so we're going to continue. I'm going to let you guys calculate how much you can afford next. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I wouldn't say harder. I think it's a matter of just getting organized. Once you know what's required, save all your documents and get organized. So let me know if I'm understanding the question. You want to know whether or not it's harder for self-employment. So basically, we need 2 years tax returns for self-employment, 12 months bank statement. It's a matter of getting organized. I want you to save. You can save it to your desktop or have hard copies. I always have just get organized and know where everything is. And I have folks who create a mortgage file, whether it's digital or hard copy. That would be great. Biggest problem with self-employment, we look at the adjusted gross income on that tax return. A lot of folks write off all of your income. Guess what? We say your accountant is a genius and your accountant did his job, but if we don't see any income coming in on that bank statement, you're not paying yourself, then there's no income to calculate a mortgage payment. So a lot of my self-employed people don't show income. That's a problem. But if you're showing income, talk to your accountant about the adjusted gross income. If you show that income, that's what we'll use to determine how much you can afford. So we take the adjusted gross income for the last 2 years and average it out over 24 months. That's the income we'll use. All right. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to go over how to calculate your mortgage payment. So no, we're not going to use gas, utilities, or anything like that to calculate a mortgage payment. We use your debt per your credit report. So usually in your credit report, we'll see loans, credit card, car payment. And so your debt in part will determine how much you can afford. So let's take out pen and paper. Do y'all have ink pens? Or you can use your calculator on your phone. Most people have like little phones. So I'll show you how to calculate your mortgage payment. Of course, we'll run that calculation with you and analyze how much you can afford when you come to the office. But I'm just going to show you real quick the calculation that we use. Okay. So your mortgage payment is limited by the lesser of the following. So there's 2 calculations we're going to do. So number 1, so we cannot exceed your affordable budget. So I guess you can go ahead and say, okay, the budget, we're going to look at the net income, what you bring home from your paycheck, minus your debt, and your surplus equals an affordable payment. Do you have any questions regarding that statement for the budget? Monthly. If you have any questions, let me know. You can ask me offline if you're shy. That's okay. All right. So the budget becomes very, very, very important. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You want to come on up? Be shy. You sitting all the way in the back and can't see. It's okay. It's all out of love. I got you. All right. It's a lot of room up here. 6 feet. It's enough for 6 feet. All right. Net income minus your expenses, your debt, and your surplus will equal an affordable payment. So if you add up, okay, so if you take home $2,000, subtract your credit card debt, your car debt, and all of that. And the surplus, usually we want you to save $200 a month. So you're gonna net income minus the debt minus $200. It'll give you an affordable mortgage payment. That's one calculation. The second calculation is, we call this your housing ratio. So what is your gross income? Write down your gross income. So let's say you make $3,000 a month. Multiply that by 33%. Use the same calculation for every member. Gross income multiplied by 33% will give you the max housing payment allowed under the NACA mortgage. You have that? Anybody need more time to calculate that? That's your second calculation. You got that, Teresa? You're not even doing the homework. What did I say? Right, because I know you're going to be at my office next week. So I want you to do the homework first. So you'll be ready, right? Multiply by 33%. What did you, I want to see what you came up with, Miss Teresa. What's your gross income? Times 0.33 equals, right. All right, so that's your max housing payment, right? So I'd like for you to walk through it because it won't be a surprise when you get to the office. And I have some people really upset. Like, that's all I can get, what I'm gonna buy with debt, like they get upset. But I want you to, to look at that number, and then I will help you to see if we can increase the amount you can afford, because there are other factors that we look at, but this is just very general and basic, right? Ms. Teresa, you have a question? Okay. All right. And so the third calculation is, okay, you're going to take your gross income, multiply by 40%. That's it. Okay. And subtract out your debt. So that's three calculations that we look at. And we choose the lower amount. Do y'all have any questions? All right. So you say, well, do y'all have any questions? I have some questions. The questions that I usually get is, how can I increase my affordability if I want a higher payment, right? So what's the answer to that? If you want to increase your affordability, what can you do? Ma'am? How do you decrease your debt? Bingo. Yeah, it's not a secret. So try to pay off your debt. So it's easier said than done, right? We're talking about how we can increase affordability.
I got into the grant when it's in your hand. And I gave them the green farm that will help to something like that.
Yes, and pay down your debt. So pay down your debt, or you can. We look at different types of income as well. Some folks have fixed income. We consider fixed income. We'll consider your job. Okay. Yeah, we need help with grants and on the ground in Birmingham. Um, so we'll start researching that more to try to get more grants. If you get more grants, you can, buy down the interest rate and increase the amount you can afford, the amount of house you can purchase. You have more buying power. So the next slide, please. Yes, ma'am. Grants. Yes, we're researching that now. Yes. Yeah, we gotta look into that. I know the city of Mobile has $20,000 grant for COVID grant. We could use that for down payment, and they have $10,000 down payment. I don't know. We gotta look into that. See if we can, the surrounding areas have grants here, so we can. Okay. Well, we can actually layer, like I said, we already got no down payment, no closing costs. But if we have additional funds, we can use that to increase the benefit. Yes. On Sunday? Excellent. Yes, it is. That's awesome. Okay, thank you. That's great. Okay. And so basically, this is the maximum, acquisition cost. So this is the maximum amount that, our maximum, lending limits. So in most areas, our max purchase price is $484,350. That's for a single family home. The high cost area is $780,525. And then the big prices go up to $620,000. The high cost area is $930,000. And then, as you can see, if you want to go up to 340, the loan is higher.
That helps you too. I mean, if you find a duplex, for example, it's 2 units together, right? You live in one, you can rent the other one. So that rent will help you to pay your mortgage. If we give you credit for 75% of that rent, in order for the back of payments and all you need is no rent and everything else. But that will add to your income. You're not receiving that yet. But that will allow you to qualify to purchase up to $620,000 because you need to qualify just for your first. So let's say the total mortgage for that property is $2,000. So you're gonna be able to rent it for 1,000, maybe dollars. So you get 750, right? So that is added to your income. You just need to qualify for 1,250. That will be your portion. So that's also a way to sometimes switch it down, right? I just using many numbers, but many times it could be a lower payment. Maybe you need to qualify for 750. Now, I don't know how quickly I can do this here.
Yes, yes. So if you want to look at multi-unit, we'll finance a multi-unit. They're hard to come by here, but if you find one, that could be an option for you. All right, and everything that we're reviewing is in the workbook. It's also online. So the loan limits are on our website. If you go to NACA website on the home buyers, and then scroll down to property qualification, you can go to loan limits, and all this information is there. It's a lot of information. Whew. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right. We also, this slide is specific to Section 8 members. Okay. Anybody here on like want to know more about? Yeah. So we are working to develop relationships with the housing authorities. HUD will allow the Section 8 voucher to be converted from rent to a mortgage payment. And so that's powerful. So instead of paying a landlord the rent for 15, 20, 30 years, now that voucher goes to home ownership. You own the home free and clear after 15 to 20 years, right? That's pretty powerful. So if we can work with the housing authorities and get an agreement, then we work with HUD for that voucher to be paid towards the mortgage to pay it off. Mhm.
There was a program in the voucher program, and it was out. So I was like 2 years in. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I was on household guide program for 3 years, went out for 2 years, and I got like 2 years in.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk more about that offline, and but definitely that's something that HUD will allow. But we work with other housing authorities throughout the country, and to help folks transition from Section 8 to homeownership. So, yes. All right. Approved housing trust voucher goes to your mortgage payment, which covers your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance instead of the landlord. So your maximum mortgage payment is based on what the landlord is paid. So they basically use the same payment standard that you have at Section 8, whereas a portion goes towards, you pay your portion, and Section 8 pays their portion. So that standard's pretty much standard to go towards the purchase of your home. Voucher would pay the mortgage for 15 years, longer if you're elderly or disabled. You continue to pay the same amount you do now that to rent. All right. Do you have any questions regarding this program? All right, next slide, please. All right. All right, so basically, your affordability will be determined in part from the data that you enter into your web portal and your application. So basically, I'll be able to review, or another housing counsel or mortgage counselor will be able to review all the documents that you enter into the system to determine your affordability, okay? So we'll be able to determine your mortgage payment, mortgage amount, or purchase price, minimum required funds. We'll talk about minimum required funds a little bit later. And so you'll be able to choose whether or not you want a 30-year, 20-year, or 15-year mortgage through our system. And of course, grants and other contributions will be able to increase your purchasing power or affordability. Next slide, please. We just kind of talked about that. We're going to look at affordable housing opportunities. We're working with, looking to partner with different organizations to increase your affordability in terms of grants, down payment assistance, interest rate buy down, renovation assistance. So that's what we have to do a better job of researching now. I mean, like I said, I found out Mobile has some programs to take care of for Mobile. Looking at Tuscaloosa, now we want something for Birmingham. So we're pushing, trying to get more resources for you, in addition to the benefits we already have in house. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So if I wanted to borrow $100,000 from you, what would you want to know about me? If I wanted to get $50 from you, what would you want to know about me? Where's my money? Okay. So basically, what does character mean? History of payments. There you go. Um, it's a method to it, and I say, I get a lot of people give up if they have to wait 2 days. It's like I can't do this. I want my house now. I have to move out next month. But guess what? Your situation may require you to take a little bit longer, but we're here. We will stay with you as long as it takes. So character, history of making payments. Okay, if you're already making on-time payments, you're almost there. If not, once you start making payments on time, it's possible. Capacity. What does capacity mean? Yeah, where do you get money from? Legally. Yeah, it must be said. We want you to be on your job for at least 1 year. We're going to record 2 years, even if there's a gap, but 1 year consistently. Okay? We want to see. You can have more than one employer. You know, I have folks that have more than one job. They can use both jobs to qualify. Okay, yeah. We don't want 30-day gap in employment within the last year. Okay, but all right. Do I have the funds? Minimum required funds. Okay, so we want you. We don't want you to close from not having zero in the bank. We want you to save some money. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, we repeated this several times. Okay, so on-time rental payments for the most recent 12 months. It's the most important indicator of your ability to make your future mortgage payment. And then we're going to look at 24 months, but we're going to only verify 12 months rental history on-time payments. Okay, no consideration of late payments that you do not have control over. And we do not look at your credit score. Okay, next slide. All right, documentation. So, I don't know how to say this, but it's very important that we get documentation. I have people that show up to the appointments with nothing, no documentation. How do I know if you can afford? I mean, we trust but verify. I can't take a verbal. I get over half of the people show up in appointments with nothing in the file, and they say, "How long this gonna take?" Yeah, I need documents. I mean, I can't stress it. I can't stress it. And important part right here. We can save, we can preach, we can jump up and down, we get excited. We saw the marching, we saw the singing, but we need the documents. And I get people so emotional, but I want us to take the emotion out of it, just do the work. Time to go to work, okay? So if you're employed, W-2 wage earners, the last 2 years W-2s, all this is in the book, by the way. So it's everything is straightforward and in writing. We need the last 2 years W-2s. Like we said, one solid year of employment and income. We will accept fixed income. I have a lot of folks who are on fixed income, Social Security benefits, child support. We accept those types of income as long as it's received on a consistent basis. Yes. Yes.
You're not self-employed if you're not paying taxes on that employment. Okay? So I know a lot of people say, well, I got a business. That business must pay business taxes. And you have the receipt of that business tax being paid for it to count. If you don't have that, you're not self-employed. You're not. And so we need to differentiate between the two. What's legal self-employed and what's side. Because we cannot accept side as legal because it's not verified. Can they say verified? Transaction on your LLC. Because in the end, LLC needs to be understood going forward, because I know a lot of that income, let's just say somebody fixed that. You got some capital, I know. You got some old eyelash, you got old eyebrow, you grandkids. You ain't paying tax on this money, if you're not self-employed. So make sure that when you come, and you say that you have documents to verify what you're saying. Because you can't take word on it. Maybe you're not the person to do it, but you can't take your word on it.
Yeah. All right.
It's called schedule C. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a schedule C.
Right. And then to emphasize that if you're self-employed, we'll need 2 years in the same business, 2 years of filed taxes, 12 months of bank statements, so we can see the cash flow. All right. Next slide. Yes. Yes.
You can generate a bank statement from Cash App. You can go back to
Yes.
Cash App and have them to generate a statement. You click on Cash App, go to your icon, and it gives you, it's saying that before, it tells you detail, and you can get that printed out.
Yes. All right. And income qualification documents, more of the same. Um, One thing that people get confused about is we need, in addition to the pay stubs, last year's W-2s and tax returns, we need the tax return transcripts. The transcripts are ordered from the IRS. So you can go to irs.gov and order, it's called tax return transcripts. I can't submit the file without it. So I need all of that plus the transcript from the IRS for the last 2 years. And if you're on other income, we will need the awards letter. Then we want to know that you have 12 months history of receiving that benefit with at least 5 years remaining. So if you're receiving child support, if the child, we will accept child support if the child is 13 years or younger. Okay, 13, over 13, we can't accept the child support payments as part of the income calculation. Okay. Self-employed, 12 months of bank statements, 1099 for the last 2 years, last year's tax returns and transcripts. And if you have the corporate tax, we need the corporate tax and corporate transcripts. Next slide. Debt qualification, what you owe the creditors. So basically, we will look at the credit report and look at all active debt. That's what we'll use as part of your debt to income calculation, just the active debt. Collections within 24 months must be paid off, settled, or an approved payment plan. So if you owe someone that's like a lien or something like that, you'll accept the 12-month pay ledger to see that you're paying that debt off. We don't care about charge-offs, except for federal debt. You cannot have a federal, like a student loan, for example, that's a federal debt. If it's a federal student loan, you must rehabilitate that student loan. There's no way around it. It's federal debt. And it's easy though. I mean, sometimes when you rehabilitate, they may ask you to pay $5 for 6 months. It's not that bad if you call them, if you have that issue. I've seen people rehabilitate and the payment's very, very low, but get started right away. Time goes by so fast. We just need documentation that the student loan is in good standing if it's charged off. Liens adjustments need to be satisfied or in a payment plan. And student loans, so I spend a lot of time on this. Student loans, especially federal student loans, a lot of folks in deferment or forbearance. We cannot accept zero payment. So you have to use the federal loan calculator and generate a simulated payment. I'll help you with that, no worries. But I just want to let you know we can't accept the zero payment if you're not paying anything right now. But we'll help you generate the simulated payment on the federal student aid website if you have issues. All right, next. Minimum required funds. We talked about this earlier briefly. So That includes earnest money, inspection fee, escrow, property taxes, homeowners insurance, prepaid interest, and reserves. So, when you go under contract, the seller's going to want a deposit, which is called your earnest money. Okay? Who's familiar with that? Okay. So if the seller's going to sell you the property, they'll say, if you're serious for me to take my property off the market, I need a deposit. That deposit is whatever the seller wants or whatever you negotiate with the seller. I've been seeing it anywhere from $0 up to $2,000. Most times it's like $500. We refund the earnest money back to you at closing. Seller wants to, they want you to pay the deposit. You get credit for that back at closing. Inspection fee. We require that you pay your own homeowner's inspection fee out of pocket unless you get a grant or something like that. So that's required on every single member's file to make sure the houses are structurally sound. We must have an inspection done on the house. And home inspection and pest inspection. To make sure there's no rodents overrunning the house. Escrow. The lender requires you to set up an escrow account. That's like a cushion for taxes and insurance for about 3 months. It's going to run you about $500, give or take. They set that up at closing, so you pay that out of pocket. Prepaid interest is paid at closing as well. Reserves is going to run you about 1 to 6 months reserves. So if your monthly mortgage payment is going to be $600, we want you to have $600 saved after closing. We don't touch your reserves. We just don't want you to be cash poor when you close and you don't have extra money to turn the lights on or anything like that. Yep. All right, next. Okay, how to determine whether or not you're ready you're eligible for this mortgage right now. These are the questions. We want you to participate with NACA before I submit you to the underwriter. So you can do like social media. You can do that within 5 minutes. You can do a Google review, share a Facebook post about NACA, take a picture of it and upload it to your file. Everybody must do that. And if you can do that, you're eligible as it relates to number one. Number two, we want you to have stable income for at least 2 years. We're going to verify 1 year employment with your employer. We want reasonable on-time payments for 1 year. We'll look at 2 years, but 1 year on-time payments per your credit report. So if you have on-time payments, then we say you're ready when it comes to pay history. We're going to want you to document your rental payments for 2 years. We're going to verify rent for 1 year. So, and we want to see that rent payment flow to the bank statement. So I have people get up to close and they're paying cash for rent. We must be able to track and trace the rent payment until closing. Pay through your bank statement so I can see the rent payment coming out every month. That's important because we're going to determine whether or not you can pay your mortgage. Your rent is the baseline. See, I can take your word for it. I love everybody, but if I can't see that rent payment, we have to start over. We need 1 year consistent on-time rent payments, and I must see it in the bank statement because we don't look at credit scores, but we want to make sure that we can verify that you pay your rent on time. How else can we do that? It has to flow through the bank statement. Yes. That's a good question. So I have folks doing that. So I have to see if you're going to pay with money order, it's a 2-step process. I have to see the exact rent payment withdrawn from the bank account. So if your rent is $500, I need to see that withdrawal every month on time, $500, and then I want a copy of the money order. So if you can pay by check or bank-to-bank transfer, that's fine. If not, if you must pay by money order, we got to see that withdrawn every month because I have to show NACA and Bank of America that you can pay your rent on time. I can't take your word for it. Yes. And you have 0 rent? That's a blessing. However, so if you want $800 payment. How can I tell if you can afford the $800 payment? Anybody? Okay. Can you say that right. If I don't see you save $800 a month and that's what you want as a mortgage payment, I have to see that saved. Your account must increase by $800 a month for 3 to 6 months. So you just can't. Yeah. So if you can save that money, you're good. Let's say you save $500, so that's going to be your baseline, the amount that you save, because we have no other way of being able to determine whether or not you can pay your mortgage payment if you're not saving any money. So if you look at your deposits and withdrawals, your deposits has to be greater than your withdrawals, and we have to see that account grow every month. Yes. 3 to 6 months. So if you're renting from a landlord and you want to go up in mortgage, if you want a higher mortgage payment, you want to see you save money for 3 months. If you're staying with family members, if you want that mortgage payment, whatever that mortgage payment is, you need to save for 6 months. Because you don't have a rent payment, and we need to determine whether or not you're ready for home ownership if you can save. But if you're spending all your money, you have zero left every month, we say you're not ready, and we can't put you in a house knowing that we may hurt you and you can't pay the mortgage payment because you're not used to it. Your lifestyle is like, I'm spending all my money. That's a problem. Yes. Yes, but we must see the money coming out of the bank account every month. It has to come out of the bank account. Even if I have a letter from the landlord and I don't see evidence of it in the bank statement, I can that bank statement is going to tell a story. It's going to tell me whether or not it's spending all your money. It's going to tell me what the utility bills are, credit card payments, car note, your income, your rent. All of that is going to be in that bank statement. And sometimes I go to the bank statement first to see what's going on, and then it'll tell me whether or not it's ready. I have to see, and then we will verify. We'll send a verification request to the landlord regardless. And if they don't want to fill out that request, you can ask. I can actually ask them for a pay letter, but then I have to match that up to the bank. Yes. Can we talk offline? I want to ask you a few questions about banking. Okay, because I think it would be easy. We could simplify it, and it's up to you. We can use Cash App. That sounds like it's. I understand. Yeah, I understand. But we can talk offline. Okay. I'm just gonna ask a few questions because I want to help you to simplify the process. If you can, if not, we can use the Cash App. No problem. Okay. Yes. Yes. We will need statements to show. All right. We will need statements to show the savings. Yeah. Um, Ma'am, we'll talk offline. So is your husband going to film the loan on the application as well? Okay, all right, because we'll need to see. Okay, that's fine. All right. So we say you're ready. If you document your savings pattern, um, no unpaid liens or judgments without a payment plan. So if you have liens or judgments, we'll need to see 6 months payment plan, and then we want to see the liens and adjustments paid on time. Okay. And then we want to document the minimum required funds, which covered a list of things, your earnest money, your inspection. Want to see those funds in the bank. All right. That's a minimum of maybe $2,500. All right. Next slide. Okay. I want you guys to read the commitment. Um, We fight for economic justice, and like I said, we want to increase home ownership here on the ground in Alabama. But these are some of the things that we'll need. We'd love for you to participate in whatever way you feel comfortable. It could just be a simple social media post. We'll have more home buyers workshops. If you want us to have a home buyers workshop in other areas of the community, we can. But we'd love for you guys to get involved. Usually when we have events in Atlanta with Diego is, today their workshop is 1,000 people minimum. Okay, we come to Alabama, it's 50 people, maybe less, because the word is out and they don't have enough counselors to handle the demand in other cities. We had Achieve the Dream events around the country: Baltimore, Atlanta, Miami, Texas. We get 15,000 people sign up for a 5-day event. The word is out there. Of course, they've done more advocacy and markets and stuff there, but I think it might catch on here. We're trying, so we need you to participate and get the word out. And so, that have closed with NACA, the NACA mortgage here. And it's so funny. I had one lady call. She said, "Somebody told me about NACA, and they told me to get mine first." I'm like, "It's not a secret." We have $15 billion. Across the country, we'll do like $1 billion a year. So we have the resources, but we have the capability to help you, right? Okay, next screen, please. All right, I need to go ahead and read over that pledge. And when you become a NACA member, we might call on you to help us out once you go through the program. We love for you to help. All right, and I think I love the fact that State Representative Sellers and Pastor Littleton and other state reps are really want to change the face of the neighborhood and revitalize communities. So this is just the beginning. So look out for more information on us having ongoing home buyers workshops, and we hope to just realize, but we are going to realize the dream of seeing those houses change in the face of our communities change. Okay. All right. Next screen. We have something called the NACA Action Committees. We have a whole nother department. Like I said, we really are not huge here and there, but we hope to develop the action communities here. So they're organized in active designated neighborhoods. And so if anybody wants to start something like that, let me know. We hope to get more staff here in Alabama on the ground starting January. And then we'd like to address issues that are facing our community. So that's something that we hope to develop in the near future. Okay, next screen. Participation. These are some of the things that we do around the country. And yeah, that really burns me up when I see slumlords, right? In certain areas, Pastor, I keep calling Pastor Littlejohn, Paul said, I talk about the Black Belt a lot because I'm from the Black Belt. It's the poorest people in the richest soil, right? There's a lot of slumlords, especially. I worked down in Selma for a minute, and it's just holes in the walls, floors, ceilings, but we can fight that, right? We believe that if you're working, some of us supposed to be working, some of us been working, 20 years? You can afford a rent payment, you can afford a mortgage payment. You don't have to live like that. So these are some of the things that we can fight. Yes. That's a great point. Agreed. No, you're right. You need to take pride, and a lot of it is we believe that if you own your own home, people have a tendency to take more pride in ownership, right? So that's what we want to include. I mean, it's a difference between renting, but when you actually own it, I think that revitalizes you as a person and the neighborhood, right? You know, I think you'll take a greater, hopefully, you will take greater care of what you own, right? You owning a piece of the American dream, right? And building a legacy for your family. Yes. Yeah, yeah. So basically, your motive should be that should be even more of a motivation to get your own, right? And- That's right. Right. So basically, that'll be awesome if you can get a house and go paint her room purple or pink, whatever she wants, right? That'll be awesome. I mean, kid, and then that does something for her. Many people see a visual of what it's like to own a home and to take ownership of her own room than the president. Right? Excellent. All right, next screen. Um, we're almost done. You get to create your own personal NACA file, and having a portal is part of your counseling home buying process. Your personal portal is to go to place for everything. You're gonna upload documents and information. You can even after you upload your documents, you can schedule an appointment through the portal. It gives you just click on a link and you can go straight to the calendar and schedule your appointment. You also have status updates. It'll let you know where you are in the process in your portal. It'll also give you next steps. We covered a lot today, but we give you next steps in the portal. You can actually, and even when you go to the next status or step, you'll get a notification through email and text. And you're able to sign your documents electronically as well. So we're very advanced electronically, but I just want to emphasize, if you don't have access to computer or scanner, you can come to the office. If the office is too far away, try your local library. Try the experts, teenagers. Yes. Emailing, what do you mean? I'm only one person, so I get so many emails, and you'll get frustrated and mad at me because I can't get to all the emails. I have a database of goes back 5 years. So when it's your appointment time, we're going to look at the documents that you upload to the web portal, and then if you can't get to the web portal, I'm going to ask you to come to the office. You have to make a trip, or the library, like I said, the experts, those teenagers. All right. Data inputting and uploading documents. So um, take time to be accurate. Take your time, one document at a time. It must be complete documentation. I don't want a picture of your bank statement balance. I need a complete bank statement with all pages, pay stubs, anything that we ask for on that list. Try to make good documentations. If it's cut off, it's going to prolong. I'm going to say we need the document, right? We can't use a document if it's cut off. I get a lot of that. All right. And if your file is fully uploaded, and you know if you're ready because we just gave you the knowledge, right? To know if you're ready for home ownership. And even if you're not ready, we can still counsel you because we want to be able to explain things to you, and we're here as long as it takes. So upload your file, right, Diego? I'm always putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. Well, we're just talking about having a full file, even if they're not ready. What's the best time to start? Yeah. In the most compatible format for the documents is PDF. There are apps for PDF. You can convert the documents to PDF to upload. If you don't use PDF, you may not see the documents in the file. Right? Right. Okay. Next screen, please. Yes, yes, thank you. Balls, you're my balls. Come on now. Am I gonna raise? But he called me balls, right? All right. Complete the following 10 sections prior to making an appointment. I also take a picture of this. This is something that we need for every file. If you're ready to make an appointment, we want to see all these sections completed. 1 second. Yes. We're in Homewood. Mhm. Oh, the event. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna. Yes.
Our host here is one of the, is going to help us and many other people in the state. We have an event coming in January. We're going to bring all the NACA resources here, different places in Alabama. So the idea is that the computers, scanners, workshops, counselors, mortgage specialists is the one that want to review the file and make the decision. Everybody is going to be here for 4 days in January from the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. Um, so if by that time you haven't done your appointment or anything, you can come to one of those events. We're going to be in different towns. Just bring your documents with you, and we do everything together in one day. We get it done in one day. You get the counseling and everything.
So at those events, we've done how many events in the past? It's been over 80 events. So last year I participated in events for I went to 2 events, but we had 4 events. Like I said, in the largest cities, we had about 15,000 plus people registered for each event. This is the first time we're going to have the event in Alabama. So in the event, we're bringing how many counselors? Maybe 100 counselors on board. It's going to be based off of demand, but at those events, you get the workshop, uploading documents right there on site. You can upload there. You're also going to have counselors on site, and we have underwriters ready to go on site. And then we have purchase workshops for those people that qualify that same day. So it's going to be a major undertaking. It's the first time it's ever done in Alabama. So we're excited to bring all those resources here for 4 days. So we want to, like I said, we're very serious about changing the face of our communities here. Okay, so we're excited. All right, so let's go to the next screen. So bank account transactions. You have the ability to authorize NACA to access your online bank information and activity. It's free. The great benefit is it eliminates the need to load the bank statements and data input, automatically updates the bank data. The data automatically goes into NACA's system and is transparent in your portal for your counselor to review and analyze. And your transactions are categorized for you. So it's a secure, confidential, encrypted system. Okay, next screen. Intake appointment. So after you do the intake, upload your documents and set your appointment. You're gonna meet with the counselor. We're gonna, at that appointment, if there's anything missing, we'll let you know and identify that information. And we'll also, let's see, request acceptance of information or document unavailable. Okay, so if you have something that you can't identify or we need, we'll ask for an exception for you. Okay, so it's common sense underwriting. You know, everything is not like straight. You know, life happens, right? So if it's something that we need to explain or get an exception for, I'll go and fight for you, and we'll talk with the underwriters to get an exception if we need to. Our appointments are held virtually, or you can come to the office for a face-to-face appointment. We use Zoom for the virtual appointments. And then if the appointments are far out, you can get on the waiting list. Okay, you can actually call in to our member services to get on the waiting list. And we recommend that you attend the intake sessions. All right, so at the end of your appointment, you will get an action plan. And the action plan is basically the things that we're missing or next steps, right? But if you're ready, you can actually prep that file to send you to the underwriter to get NACA approved. The underwriter will approve your file. But we have to make sure that everything is updated and ready to go for the underwriter to review, right? Do y'all have any questions? We'd like for you to confirm appointments 10 days in advance. You can actually do that through your web portal. Okay. Next. Oh, we're almost done. Okay. Accessing your member portal. So if you're on a computer, you'll see this screen to your right. If you're on your phone, you should be able to go to NACA.com, and you'll be able to see this screen here. I'm going to get my phone because we're going to get ready to give you a code for attending today. Then you're going to get a NACA ID, which is how we'll be able to identify your application with NACA. Next. You're going to receive that NACA ID to access your personal member portal. And there's more of the same. Basically, you can go to our office to upload documents or upload from your device, okay? So I think Diego's pulling up the code right now. Okay, he's going to pull it up in a second. All right, next screen, please. Okay, you can go ahead and use your cell phone to take a picture of this. You can share with your friends that you're on your way to home ownership. Hashtag NACA. You can check into the location. You can also join our NACA official Facebook group and Facebook, and you can connect with other NACA members. There's a lot of chatter on Facebook. Some good, mostly good. All right, next screen. Oh wait, let's hold it. Sorry. Has everybody taken a picture of that? That wants to take a picture? Yes. All right, let's go to the next slide. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. No, it's two separate things. We're going to give you a code today so that you can generate your personal NACA ID. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we get? Yes, ma'am. Oh, they Pastor. Okay. Okay. Don't be shy. Yes, ma'am. It's good for 6 months. All right. Let's go on to the next screen. If y'all have any questions, just let me know at any time. If you have any questions. Congratulations on completing your first step towards affordable home ownership with NACA. Welcome to the NACA family. Yay! That's a long, long workshop. All right, so let's go to. Do you have access? Can you pull up www.naca.com for me? Okay. Whoa. www.naca.com.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So you want you click on the logo at the top. Yeah, click on the logo, the NACA logo, please.
The NACA logo.
Yeah, right there. So we go, and then where you see sign in top right corner, right there. Yes. And so that's, and then when you're there, yep. I don't see. Right there. Let's just stop there for 1 second, and so everybody gets there. Yes, yes. So the question is, if we're gonna see your credit more than one time in the process? Yes. Yes, we will. Because when you get up, let's say you start your counseling for all, your credit report is good for 60 days when you are in counseling, right? So maybe you do it in the first appointment, and then you have some action items to complete, pay your shop, for example, because you want more than the current rate. So you're gonna show that for 3 months. So when you're ready to qualify